Waiting be this one like this. Ask about me, ask about me, ask about me, ask about me. Ta ló sọ pé kò pọ̀ kẹ́? PP ó pọ̀ pa. Ó PP ó pọ̀ gan. Ask about me, ask about me. Waiting be this one like this. Ó PP ó pọ̀ pa. Ó PP ó pọ̀ gan. Hello guys, I am back again. Today, I'm going to be revealing to you the secret ways Naira Marley is actually making billions of naira from the same set of Nigerians that were claiming that they have successfully cancelled him some years back. I know you are surprised, right? That's the same way I was surprised when I made the shocking discovery. The same set of Nigerians that claimed they actually cancelled Naira Marley are unknowingly making him billions of naira and millions on a monthly basis. To them, they've successfully cancelled Naira Marley, but the fact remains that Naira Marley has become even richer than he has ever been thanks to the fact that some Nigerians decided to cancel him. I'm going to be giving you solid proof to show that this guy is actually making more money now that he's being cancelled by Nigerians. And I'm sure that he is secretly happy that he was cancelled at the time Nigerians did. I have highlighted some points that I'm going to be using to drive up this argument. But before I go into it, kindly subscribe to my channel, switch on the notification so you can get notified anytime I drop content, and also get a pen and a paper to write things down because you're going to be learning a whole lot today. Thanks for doing that. Now let's get the show on the road. Before I go into how this guy is actually making billions from the cancellation by Nigerians, let me provide a little bit of context. So some years back, some months back, singer Mohbad died under unclear circumstances, and many people accused Naira Marley of being instrumental to what led to this guy's death. Although there is no concrete evidence as of now, but they concluded that since he had an history of allegedly assaulting Mohbad, that means he was indirectly or directly linked to what led to his death. So on that basis, they came together and cancelled him. And you would agree with me that they were successful at cancelling Naira Marley. They didn't only cancel Naira Marley, they cancelled everything that had to do, that still has to do with Malian music, which is the record label owned by Naira Marley. So after doing that, their expectation was that this guy will become poorer because now nobody listens to him, nobody goes to his shows, he doesn't even hold shows again like before. He lost the appeal that he had before that incident. But what if I told you that that singular act by Nigerians to cancel this guy has actually made him richer? You want to ask how? Don't worry, I'm going to show you how this guy is actually richer now that he has been cancelled. You know, when I made the discovery, I was shocked because I was also initially of the opinion that this guy is done for, that it is over for him in the Nigerian music industry, it is over for him in life, that the only thing he can be enjoying now is maybe the investment that he made before the incident happened. But imagine my shock when I did my thorough analysis and I discovered that this guy is actually making more now than even when Mohbad was alive, than even when he was enjoying the goodwill of Nigerians. Imagine that. Talk about the cost and the gift. He was cancelled, but the cancellation has actually made him richer. And I can categorically say that every month, this guy is making millions of naira and thousands of dollars just for the single fact that Nigerians cancelled him. Now, enough of the context and premise. Let's now go to how this guy is actually making the said millions of naira on a monthly basis because Nigerians cancelled him for being directly or indirectly linked to the death of Mohbad. First, the first thing that I stumbled on was the fact that this guy has IP ownership. IP means intellectual property. So you know that Mohbad was signed to Malian Music, and Malian Music is owned by Naira Marley. And as the label boss, he signed an agreement with Mohbad to release a certain amount of body of works. And Mohbad was prolific during the time he was with Naira Marley under Malian Music. So he recorded a whole lot of works. And you know that as the owner of the label, this guy is actually the owner of the intellectual property of all the music, all the songs that Mohbad dropped under Malian Music. So I know that they had a percentage, and there were rumors that it was 60-40, and some people claimed it was 70-30. But whatever the case was, Naira Marley actually has a larger share of whatever intellectual property that Mohbad dropped under Malian Music. Now that that is established, that this guy has a particular percentage in whatever intellectual property that Mohbad dropped under Malian Music. Now let's go to the next phase. Yeah, I've already talked about it. Mohbad was a signee and he dropped a whole number of projects under Naira Marley. That one has been established. So he released many songs, like I said. Yeah, one of them is Kiss, one of them is Ask About Me, and so many other See Ronaldo, so many other hits that are too numerous to mention. So now royalties are pouring in on these songs. You know, Nigeria said they cancelled Naira Marley. It was Naira Marley that they cancelled. But during and around the time of Mohbad's death, they were actively streaming all his songs, both the ones he released under Malian Music and the ones he released after. But you will agree with me that most of the songs he released under Malian Music were hits. So, despite the fact that they cancelled Naira Marley, they kept on streaming and listening to the songs released by Mohbad under Malian Music. Can you see the disconnect? You cancelled the label owner, but you are listening to songs released under his record label. And there is an existing agreement between the label owner and Mohbad that there will be a percentage sharing formula of whatever accrues from the music that Mohbad released. So let's assume that after listening to Mohbad songs for a couple of times, he makes $100. Out of this $100, 60 or 70% goes to Naira Marley based on their deal. If it was 60-40, that means 60 goes to him. If it was 70-30, that means 30 goes to him. Can you now see? So you cancelled him, but you are actively listening to songs released by the deceased under Naira Marley's record label, knowing fully well that there is an existing agreement. Now let's proceed. So that means 70% or 60% of whatever royalties is going to Mohbad actually ends up in the pocket of Naira Marley, despite the fact that it was being cancelled. Now, streaming numbers. After the death of Mohbad, so many of his songs, in fact all of the songs that he released, started charting on all streaming platforms. You know, they were charting on Apple Music, Boomplay, Audiomack, Spotify. People were listening to them massively, both locally and internationally. You know, the news about his death and the situation surrounding it made the news go viral and made so many people get emotional. Even people that did not know Mohbad before his death got to know of him. And even a song that he released after his death with another artist like that became #1 in Nigeria. I'm talking about, I think, Egu or something that he released with one guy like that. It became #1 for a very long time. That's how powerful the emotion attached to this guy's death was. So the streaming numbers were crazy. And guess what? Sharing formula comes in again. The numerous streams and everything poured in thousands of dollars. And you know that to make 1 billion naira is just $10,000. $10,000 is like 1.6 billion naira. And the streaming numbers was crazy. he had intimidating level of streams after his death, and there is an existing sharing formula, 60-40 or 70-30, as the case may be. So whatever he made during that time, Naira Marley was actually collecting 60 to 70% of it. Can you now see where I'm driving at? Now, it was trending on all streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, Audiomack, Boomplay, name it. All his songs were charting, and people were so emotional. And you know, this guy released a whole lot of a whole body of works under Naira Marley music. In fact, he was able to release just, I think, an EP after leaving Naira Marley's music before his death. So the bulk of his music, of his songs, were released under Naira Marley, and they were hits. You know, most of his songs were released under Naira Marley. In fact, when he dropped the EP, the songs there were not as massive as the ones he dropped under Naira Marley. So many people were listening more to the ones he dropped under Naira Marley, not knowing that 70 to 60% of it was going to Naira Marley, the man they said they cancelled. And hence, regardless of the cancel culture, regardless of the public perception, regardless of the causes, at the end of the day, people were still making Naira Marley richer. Let's proceed. That's not all. To the third point, what about YouTube monetization? This guy released a series of videos under Naira Marley music, and if you look at it, before his death, most of those videos were not doing very well on YouTube. But after his death, people rushed to YouTube and started watching these videos, and the videos were monetized. The YouTube was monetized, and the videos are under Naira Marley music. In fact, some of his music videos now have like 14 million views now. Imagine the implication of that in terms of revenue generation. So there was a surge in views after his death. Somebody that was struggling with 3 million views, 2 million views, 4 million views before, the death just propelled the views to tens of millions, 20 million, 30 million, depending on how big the song is. You know? And again, the sharing formula comes into play. This guy made thousands of dollars in revenue. If you know how YouTube monetization works, you know that 1 million views is enough to settle you for some time. Not to not talk about 40 million views. Imagine that. Let's assume that he even, in the worst case scenario, let's assume that he even makes $1,000 per 1 million views. The cumulative number of views that this guy has gathered after his death is nothing less than 60 million views on YouTube. Now let's say for each million he makes $1,000. That's $16,000, right? So yeah, let's assume this is just like a worst case scenario. Let's assume that he has made $60,000 so far from YouTube. And don't forget, there is an existing sharing formula. Out of $60,000, the owner of the record label will be making 70 to 60% from it. So let's now assume that he's making 60% of it. That's how much? $36,000 going to Naira Marley. And we know that $10,000 is like 1.6 billion naira based on the current exchange rate. So can you now see that from this 36, you know, so imagine how much he has made from this $36,000. No, just do the math. We are talking about something close to, say, 4 billion to 5 billion naira. Can you see? Just from YouTube alone. And this is going to the same guy you guys said you cancelled. So the question now is this cancellation actually affecting Naira Marley or helping him? Would he have been able to make this money if not for the fact that he was cancelled? The answer is no. That means the cancellation, so many people attached their emotions to cancelling Naira Marley, and they were aggressively streaming these Mohbad songs. They were aggressively watching his videos, thus making more money for Naira Marley. And that's not even all. No, there are so many ways this guy was making money, from streams, from YouTube monetization and everything. he was getting richer, and Nigerians were deceiving themselves that they cancelled this guy. While the cancellation was successful, at least based on the money coming to Naira Marley directly from his own work, from his own body of works, yes, it was successfully cancelled. But the loophole of still streaming the songs released by Mohbad under Naira Marley music ensured that this guy was still making more money. That's why this guy has never been bothered about the cancel culture, because money keeps on pouring in. The more you cancel him, the more you attach the more your emotion is attached to streaming Mohbad songs, without considering the fact that most of these songs are under Naira Marley's record label. So the more you stream it, the more money to this guy. He is making the bank in terms of royalty and YouTube monetization. But after all this is said and done, I think there would have been a better way to cancel him rather than doing it the way Nigerians did it. And I'm going to make some suggestions that should have been considered but weren't considered. Number one is that, okay, what should have been done? The cancellation should have been total. What do I mean? If you say you want to cancel Naira Marley, you want to cut off the source of income, you want to cut off everything, that means the cancellation has to be total, not one-sided. Because the cancellation that Nigerians did was one-sided. They cancelled Naira Marley for listening to songs released under his record label. If they wanted to cancel him, they should have cancelled it and boycotted all the songs that Mohbad released under Malian music. That would have been a more effective way to cancel him. By doing that, we would have cut the taproot of his income generation. But you didn't do that. You left that loophole, and that loophole is pouring in millions and billions of naira to this guy on a monthly basis. The earnings continued regardless of the public perception. Public sentiment was that this guy is bad and the likes. We know based on the sentiment. But he's still making the bank, he's still making money. Now tell me, if you were to be in the show of Naira Marley, would you care? The answer is no, because the cancellation is not actually affecting your bag that much. It's even making you richer, as regard what the counselors intended. So the guy is cool, calm and collected because he knows that that loophole is still there. The taproot has not been cut. So the water is still flowing. The water still the rush. If the cancellation has been total, that means by them stopping streaming Mohbad songs, watching his YouTube videos, especially those that are released under Naira Marley. I'm not against you listening to the songs that he released after he left Naira Marley, but the ones that he released while still under an active contract to Naira Marley's record label. If you have stopped listening to those songs, watching those videos, this guy wouldn't have made this much money without you knowing. So in a way, you helped make this guy richer. You helped put billions of naira in his pocket. Although it was not done intentionally, it was based on ignorance and emotion. Nobody could have analyzed it well at that time. And there wouldn't have been a consensus anyways, because you wouldn't be able to control the kind of songs that everybody was streaming. And the thing went viral, it went beyond the shores of Nigeria. So there was no way everybody would have been on the same page as regards songs to stream. Anyways, that's about all I have to say. I hope you've seen how this guy is actually making millions and billions of naira on the low, while Nigerians continue to actively cancel him. So you now want to ask, is the cancellation working? Well, yes and no. Yes, in the sense that Nigerians are not actively listening to his own music and watching his own video, so his revenue has dropped in that aspect. But Nigerians are still emotionally attached to the circumstances surrounding the death of Mohbad, and hence listening to all of his songs, inclusive of those that he released under Naira Marley's music. And the implication of that is that whatever royalty is coming in, whatever ad revenue is coming in, is going to be split by Naira Marley and Mohbad. And unfortunately, Naira Marley is going to be getting a chunk of it because he's the record label holder, and depending on the agreement that they had, you may be getting 60% to 70% of whatever money you are helping Mohbad make at the end of the day. So that's all about this episode. I hope it's expository enough. I hope it's informative enough. If you watched to this moment, before you go, kindly do one thing for me. Subscribe to my channel and switch on the notification so you can get notified anytime I drop a content. Till we see again, thank you and bye.